Sandigan Bayan convicts businesswoman Janet Lim Napoles and 2 others of graft, malversation of public funds, and 3 counts of malversation of public funds through falsification. The decision comes after they were proven to have committed falsification of official documents in connection with former Senator Gringo Honasan's 2009 Priority Development Assistance Fund or PDAF. In its decision, the Anti-Graft Court Special 3rd Division found Napoles, former National Livelihood Development Corporation official Gonelina Amata, and Honasan's former political affairs chief Michael Benjamin guilty of the charges over the alleged misuse of the senator's PDAF intended for livelihood projects in San Agustin, Surigao del Sur. According to the Anti-Graft Court, the 3 are jointly and severally liable to pay the government 29.1 million pesos, with interest of 6% per annum from the date of the decision's finality until full payment. Moreover, Amata, Benjamin, and Napoles shall suffer perpetual disqualification from holding any public office. They were also sentenced to prison terms ranging from 6 years and 1 month to 17 years and 4 months. In August 2017, the Office of the Ombudsman filed before the Sandigan Bayan 2 counts of graft against Honasan, alleging that his 30 million peso PDAF for Muslim Filipinos was implemented without proper procurement procedures. However, in January 2021, the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division dismissed the graft cases against Honasan after granting the demurrer to evidence he filed. The court had ruled that the evidence of the prosecution failed to sufficiently establish the essential elements of the crime charged and to overcome the presumption of innocence in favor of the accused. Former Acol Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co, along with other congressmen, may be included in the first batch of flood control cases set to be filed before the Sandigan Bayan in November. In an ambush interview on Friday, October 24, Ombudsman Remulla says Co is most likely included in the initial batch of cases to be filed before the Anti-Graft Court.
Malamang kasama. Kasi naalala ko mayroong Mindoro case na kasama sa mga finansa. So, maraming nakalagay po ron na kakasuhan namin. May mga congressman na kasama rin.
Remulla also says he is uncertain whether any senators will be included in the first batch of cases expected in November. Co has recently been implicated in alleged irregularities in infrastructure projects, particularly flood control works in Bulacan. Former district and assistant engineers testified that Co was involved in budget insertions that totaled at least 35 billion pesos from 2022 to 2025. They also claimed that kickbacks were delivered to Co, including one alleged delivery of 1 billion pesos in cash. The money was supposedly packed into more than 20 suitcases and transported in multiple vans to his penthouse at a luxury hotel in Taguig City. At the Senate Subpanel on Finances hearing on the proposed 2026 budget of the Ombudsman, Senator Win Gatchalian notes that filing cases before the Sandigan Bayan can take 2 to 3 years. In response, Remulla says that under his leadership, case filings will no longer take long. When asked when cases would be filed with the Sandigan Bayan, he says they are targeting within 30 days. Remulla reiterates this during the ambush interview, saying these cases should be filed promptly since corruption has long been a persistent problem.
As soon as possible time. Basta hindi nakagaya ng dati na snail pace. Talaga ito, talagang kailangan bilisan namin ito, paspasan ito. Kasi gano'n naman dapat eh. Ang corruption matagal na nangyayari at the deadline is yesterday, sinasabi ko na. Yun lang naman yun ang pinakamahalaga, ma-summarize ang maraming dokumento para maintindihan kagad, umandar kagad sa opisina.
Upon stepping into his new position as Ombudsman, Remulla vowed to prioritize the filing of cases in relation to the flood control corruption scandal. Malacanang is urging the Office of the Ombudsman to investigate the supposed secret decision reversing the 2016 dismissal order against Senator Joel Villanueva. At a press briefing on Friday, October 24, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says that such a decision, if proven true, could erode public trust in the country's justice system.
Tayo naman po ay nananalig at nagtitiwala sa kakayahan ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla. At kahit sila ay independent body, dapat din natin sabihin sa kanila, sa atin, sa pamamagitan natin, na dapat ito talagang imbestigahan ng malaliman upang kung anuman ang may pagkakamali, kung anuman ang nalabag na batas, kung mayroon man, ay dapat itong masolusyonan at maitama ng Office of the Ombudsman.
Castro adds that it is too early to determine whether former Ombudsman Samuel Martirez could be held liable for the matter.
So, depende po yan sa lahat ng sitwasyon at mayroon nga pong isang provision sa rules of procedure ang Office of the Ombudsman na kung di tayo nagkakamali sa news na lumabas, 2016 ay meron ng motion for reconsideration.
Castro also notes that if a motion for reconsideration was indeed filed in 2016, it should not have taken until 2019 or 2 years for the motion to be resolved. On Thursday, October 23, Remulla stated that he would no longer request the Senate to implement the 2016 dismissal order against Villanueva. After declaring his intent to pursue the dismissal, Remulla said a decision signed by Martires in July 2019 suddenly surfaced, reversing the 2016 order. According to Remulla, no one knew about the Martires decision reversing the 2016 order, including people close to the Ombudsman's office. Remulla said he will study the reversal and why it only supposedly surfaced now. In 2016, former Ombudsman Conchita Carpe Morales ordered Villanueva's dismissal from public service over his administrative liability in the allegedly anomalous use of his Priority Development Assistance Fund allocation as a House member. The Senate at the time did not implement the dismissal order against Villanueva, saying the Ombudsman lacks jurisdiction over members of Congress. A lawyer for drug war victims says the International Criminal Court's ruling affirming its jurisdiction over former President Rodrigo Duterte's case should end his camp's claims he was kidnapped. The October 23 ruling of Pretrial Chamber 1 rejected the defense's challenge to the ICC's jurisdiction. Bayan Muna Chair Nery Colmenares says the decision practically destroyed the Duterte's claim that he was kidnapped. Duterte's former executive secretary, Salvador Medialdea, represented him in his first remote appearance before the tribunal in March. Medialdea told the court that the former president's arrest and the manner in which he was brought to the ICC constituted an abduction, kidnapping, and political score settling. This was met with a passive response from the Pretrial Chamber 1 judges. With this development in Duterte's case, Colmenares says the next step is for the confirmation of charges hearing to proceed and for arrest warrants to be issued for Duterte's co-perpetrators. Colmenares then urges Duterte to stop with his delaying tactics, as families of drug war victims have long awaited justice. Originally scheduled for September, the confirmation of charges hearing was postponed after Duterte's lawyers requested a halt to all pretrial proceedings. The defense cited alleged cognitive issues that could prevent Duterte from adequately strategizing his defense. For Colmenares and the victims, this attempted delayed trial indicates that he has no evidence to prove he was not involved in the war on drugs. Colmenares was among the counsels who drafted one of the complaints against Duterte filed with the ICC in 2018, just a year before the Philippines' withdrawal from the Rome Statute took effect in March 2019. Duterte's lead counsel Nicholas Kaufman says he will soon file an appeal against the ruling affirming ICC jurisdiction.